1 minute. You're neck and neck. Just chill.
No. That was disgusting. Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be going over what, in my opinion, are going to be the best snipers to use when Trials of Osiris comes out in Destiny 2, which should be, sounds like, pretty soon. But before we get into it, I do want to say that I do play on console. I play on PS4. This shouldn't make too much of a difference in the best snipers to use. I think overall it'll be the same thing pretty much on PC, but just keep that in mind. If you do play PC, you might have slightly different opinions. But yeah, I'm going to go over my top 3 kinetic snipers to use and my top 3 energy snipers to use. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I bet you're asking, what makes a sniper good? So I have a couple reasons, nothing in any particular order, but I think a couple of things factor into this. I think aim assist is a pretty big thing. That's why I say on console, aim assist is a pretty big deal for sniping. Zoom. People have different preferences in zoom. I know a lot of guys like the lowest possible, 35. I personally prefer 40. I seem to hit more snipes for some reason with 40 zooms. I don't really particularly love 35 zooms. Another thing, reticle size. One example that comes to mind is Apostate has a bit of a fatter circle. I don't particularly like it because of that. I like smaller circles typically, and there's some exceptions to that. And another thing is obviously is perks. Some snipers just straight up can't get snapshot, and that's a necessity for sniping pretty much, at least quick draw or snapshot. So perks are a big deal. Another thing is how easy the sniper to get. Some snipers are really easy to get, some are really hard to get, so that will factor a little bit into this list, not too much. Mostly just gonna be going over the best snipers, but the ones that are easiest to get might be higher because I think anybody can get them pretty much. And the last thing is, this is just going to come down to personal preference, the feel of the sniper. That's where I say, like, some people like 35 zoom, some people like 40 zoom, some people like fat circles, some people like I don't know, lower aim assist for some reason. But yeah, so the last thing is the personal preference, the feel of the sniper. How does it feel to you? But yeah, all right, let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with the kinetic slot. So the third best sniper in my opinion, well, the thing is, in the kinetic slot there's not a whole lot of options, to be honest, but this number 3 spot could be a bunch of different snipers, because in my opinion the third best sniper isn't actually that good. But I'm gonna go with the Bite of the Fox, and I'm gonna go over a couple reasons why. First of all, it only has a 43 zoom, which is pretty low, a little bit more than my taste, but it's still really good. It has a low aim assist, 41. Really good range though, so it's gonna have good bullet magnetism, and you can get some really good rolls. I think the reason I had to go with this sniper is you can get rolls with like snapshot or opening shot and explosive payload. So as you can see right here, I should be showing light.gg website. We're gonna be going over a bunch of different sniper rolls. You can get snapshot with opening shot or explosive payload. So both of those perks do give you a bigger hitbox in your snipe. You can also get moving target, which will help you with aim assist, so you make up for that a little bit, and strafe a little faster, which is really huge peeking around corners. My biggest knock on this sniper is the reticle. I don't like the arrow reticle. It just really throws off my snipes, but I think if you get used to it, you can really make some good plays with it. But yeah, I'm gonna go with number 3. Is gonna be in the kinetic slot. It's gonna be Bite of the Fox. Not a huge fan of it, but I think it's one of the better options in the kinetic slot. Okay, number 2, this is actually my personal favorite in the kinetic slot, but I think other players are going to prefer other snipers over this, and that's going to be the Supremacy sniper rifle. So it's a 140 sniper rifle, and typically 140s have really high handling, high aim assist, not the greatest range, but good enough. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing, I typically really like 140s. The high handling is really huge, and the high aim assist is also very huge, especially on console. And a little thing that people don't really like about them, but it's very powerful, is you can double body shot really easily. So yeah, one problem is that it doesn't headshot. One headshot super is just a bit of a problem. That's why I don't think I can put it at number 1, because I think it's going to be really important to headshot supers. But let's go over the rolls. So I think 2 perks you could go for: snapshot. You gotta go for snapshot. It's the only one in that slot. You gotta get snapshot. Number 2, I don't know. I think I'd go for rapid hit. That's actually the role I have, rapid hit. I think it's not that you need stability on a sniper, but the stability will give you, and the reload speed. You'll be able to reload faster after getting a headshot, and that little bit of stability might make it a little easier to snap to your next target if they're right next to each other. But yeah, and overall, barrels, magazines. Barrels, you're going to go for handling or range buffs, maybe even stability because it's a 140 if you want double body shot a lot. And in the energy slot, I'd say ricochet, not the energy slot, in the magazine slot, I'd say ricochet rounds or a magazine buff, maybe light mag for that extra reload speed. And masterworks, you're still going to want to go for ranger handling probably. But really, that's the biggest thing, mostly the perks, really. That's the biggest thing. Okay, number 1, I think this is a pretty obvious one. I think this is going to be extremely powerful in Trials of Osiris. That is going to be the Revoker sniper rifle. I think this is a pretty obvious one. Let's get right into this. It is incredibly easy to get. I don't remember the exact steps. I think you might just have to get to 3,500 in comp. I could be wrong. If you know what to do, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, so let's get into this. It's got 80 range with a masterwork of range, I'm pretty sure. So it might be 90. I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to max range. Lower aim assist, but the biggest thing is a high impact with a 35 zoom, which I know a lot of people prefer 35s. And snapshot, it's got low handling, so it feels a little sluggish, but you're going to be able to one-shot supers. And also reversal of fortunes is a perk I wish they didn't put in the game, but it's in the game where if you miss a shot, you're gonna get the bullet back. So that's incredibly huge in trials. If you're gonna be 1v3s and you're missing a shot, you only have a few shots, it's gonna come really clutch. Another thing is that it's a high impact, so it does a lot of damage to the body. So if your teammates like hit them with like one hand shot, like in the body or the head, I'm pretty sure you can just body shot them. So in that case, it's pretty easy to use it. And also, like, in my opinion, I wouldn't put targeting adjuster mod on this because you get the bullet back if you miss. So I would just go for Icarus grip. You basically get just a free slot to put Icarus grip in, so you can just go crazy to the sniper, do some crazy things. It's really huge. I think it's really easy to use too, because like I said, you get the bullet back, you can body shot, and also you can just pair if not forgotten. I think that on console especially, you're gonna see at least one player using this loadout on console in Trials of Osiris. That's going to be Revoker and Not Forgotten. I guarantee you almost every team's going to have one guy using that, unless they're all shotgunning, or maybe one's using Last Word. But if they're sniping, I bet you someone's going to run Revoker and Not Forgotten. Alright, now let's get into the energy slot. And in my opinion, the energy snipers are like quite a bit stronger than the kinetic snipers. There's a lot of options to go with, but let's get into the third best, in my opinion, in the energy slot. And this is going to be a little surprising, I think, but this is one of my personal favorites. I'm going with the Persuader sniper rifle, and I'll tell you why I really like this sniper rifle in a second. First of all, it's a 140, which is 140s are great. They have good handling, they have good aim assist, they're really good, and you can double body shot. The only knock again is you cannot one shot a super, but if you're good at sniping, you can hit him in the head and you can swap to a hand cannon to clean him up, or you can just do another shot at the sniper. And yeah, it's a decent aim assist of 71. It's got a zoom of 35, but don't let that fool you, because it comes with two scopes that add zoom. So if you go with the low zoom scope, you're gonna actually be 45 zoom, but it doesn't feel like 45. I thought it was 40 for sure, but apparently it's 45 with the scope on. And then into the perks. Okay, so you can get snapshot. That's what you want. Boom, snapshot. That's the perk you're going for. And after that, you can go with a lot of things here. You can go moving target. I know a lot of people love moving target. My personal pick is explosive payload, so you can get the bigger hitbox. And you can do some funky stuff by shooting around corners and maybe hitting them a little bit, or maybe you can damage somebody next to him if you snipe two guys right on each other. Triple tap. You could go with outlaw, I guess. But yeah, I'd say moving target, explosive payload for the most part. You're going to want a range or handling masterwork again. And then you're going to want a bigger magazine or accurized rounds. I'd probably go for accurized rounds just because it already has like I think a 5 or 6 default mag. So, but yeah, it's a very good sniper rifle. I think it's extremely underrated. But that's going to be my third personal pick for that sniper rifle. Number 2 in the energy slot is going to be my personal favorite. This is my favorite sniper in the entire game, and that is Omniscient Eye. There is one problem with the sniper rifle. It is very hard to get. You can only get it from the Garden of Salvation raid boss, so you have to complete the entire raid and you might get it. Not to mention you might get it with good rolls on it. So let's go right into it. It has a 72 aim assist, 73 handling, 43 range, pretty decent. And then let's go into the perks. Okay, so in the first slot, you could go with 3 perks really. I'd pick between 2 of them, I'd say. No distractions would be my #1 pick for sure. And then if you can't get that, mulligan. Outlaw would be decent if you got it, because you can technically make use of it. If you get Genesis, that's what I got on mine, unfortunately. If you get Genesis, it's not going to do anything PvP, unfortunately. But yeah, next slot. This is where it gets tricky. You think you have to get Snapshot. Everything else is literally useless, pretty much. Multi-kill clip, Rampage. Dragonfly is not big enough of an explosion to make use of it. You're going to want to go with Snapshot. And yeah, so I'd go with Snapshot, no distractions. Maybe one day I'll personally get that sniper rifle. Probably won't. I personally just run with the only one I've gotten. It has Snapshot and Genesis on it. And then for your barrels, you're gonna want to go with a range or a handling buff. I personally really like stuff like small bore, hammer forge, fluted barrel, something like that. Another thing for the magazine, I probably go for accurized rounds. But a magazine buff would also be really good. And then for masterwork, a range or handling masterwork would be the way to go. But this would be my personal favorite sniper rifle, but I can't put it ahead of #1, which is probably the best sniper rifle in the game. It's super easy to get. You can get god rolls, you can get multiple god rolls of it. So let's get into that sniper rifle right now. Right, and that sniper rifle shouldn't be surprising to anyone, but it is beloved. The beloved sniper rifle. This thing might be like the most, well, maybe Revoker might be more used just because it's in the Kinetic Slot compared if not forgotten, and you get the bullet back if you miss. But this will be either first or second most used sniper for sure. It's the best in the energy slot, no questions asked. So let's get into it. 68 aim assist for a 90 RPM is actually very high. It has a good range of 55. Decent handling at 52, but that doesn't really matter because I'll show you a role that I particularly have and you should go for in my opinion. So let's go into the perks. Oh, and also don't forget, it's a 40 zoom. These are my personal favorites. I don't know if it's a console thing, probably not, but I really like 40 zooms. I seem to hit more shots for some reason. Okay, so the perks. First slot, you could actually go with a couple things, and I'll tell you why when we get to the second slot. But you're gonna probably want to go for Snapshot. If you don't go for Snapshot, you could go for no distractions. You could go for Demolitionist, actually. You could go for Mulligan. You could go for Firmly Planted. The only one you really don't want is Field Prep. And then the second slot, Quick Draw, top tier, really good. Moving Target, also very good. Box Breathing used to be very good. Fourth of the Charm's okay. Rampage, don't go for that. Ambitious Assassin, useless pretty much. So in my opinion, this is the role that I actually have. It's my most used sniper rifle so far, actually. And I use a Snapshot and Quick Draw one. And the reason I go for Snapshot and Quick Draw is because if you're an aggressive sniper and you knee slide around corners and maybe like knee slide people's faces to get quick scopes and just really get in their faces, you can do some nasty stuff with a Snapshot and Quick Draw one. And if you don't get Quick Draw, Moving Target's really good too. And if you don't get Snapshot, no distractions, Quick Draw, or like Firmly Planted. I've seen a lot of people use that. Mulligan, you might see use in trials because if you miss a bullet, you might get it back. But yeah. And then in the magazine, or the barrel slot, I would go for something like Small Bore or Hammer Forge. I would try to max the range as much as possible without like decreasing the handling. But really anything doesn't. I actually have Airhead Break on mine, and I low-key like that because it maxes the recoil direction, which sounds like whatever, but with the max recoil direction, it pretty much shoots, it goes straight up after I shoot it, so I can snap onto my next target really fast. And then the next slot, accurized rounds I'd go for just to get that as much bullet magnetism as possible. And if not, a magazine buff. That is really good too. And then for the masterwork, handling or range, I would personally go for range. You can get some really good range rolls. I have Airhead Break with accurized rounds and a range masterwork, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's around like high 70s in range. It's really good. So this is probably gonna be the best sniper in the game, the most used sniper in Trials of Osiris. And now let's go over a couple of close calls. These are the ones that almost made it. I'm not gonna go over like personal like god rolls that I would choose, but I'm gonna say for the most part on snipers you want range and handling and magazine buffs. whichever ones you can get. Those are really important. But let's go into probably the most controversial one. People are probably really surprised it's not on this list, and that is, if I can find it, that is the Twilight Oath. The Twilight Oath. I just am not a big fan about this sniper. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but maybe it's because I don't have a snapshot roll, and you can only get that from the curated roll, which can be considered kind of hard to get, to be honest. And it's also a 35 zoom. It's not my thing. I don't know. It's just sniper. It's not my sniper, and I think I don't get killed by it a whole lot either. So yeah, I just am not a huge fan of the sniper, even though it's very popular on. I've seen a lot of PC players using it. I don't know if that's a thing, but another one, Apostate. I've talked about it a little bit. Very it's similar to a lot of other 140 snipers. It just, to me, I don't know exactly what it is. It's got a 40 zoom. I love 40 zooms. The reticle just seemed kind of big. It's a bit of a fat circle, so it wasn't personally my sniper rifle, but it's pretty easy to get. So if you get it, it's a very good sniper rifle. Next one that almost made the list, Soul Survivor. This is actually a really good sniper rifle, and I wish it just didn't have this one thing. This is what really breaks it for me. Is the reticle. Again, the reticle, this is personal preference stuff, but the reticle is that arrow reticle, and I really have a hard time hitting consistent headshots with the arrow reticle. I don't know what it is, but it just really bothers me. It's a 40 zoom, it's got decent aim assist, and you can get things like snapshot opening shot or snapshot slide shots. You can get some really good rolls on this thing. I just wish that I just wish it didn't have the arrow reticle. I really like it. Another close one, this is actually the first sniper that I fell in love with, is Tatara Gaze. Don't underestimate snapshot and kill clip on a sniper. It's a high impact, it can one-shot supers, and it can easily just body shot people to death. So you might see people using this if people can really practice a lot, but this is the first sniper that I fell in love with. Another close one, this is in the Kinetic Slot, is the Frigid Jackal. The Frigid Jackal has pretty high aim assist to 90 RPM, so it can one-shot supers, and you can get quick draw on it, so it's pretty good. Only problem is, well, apparently it's a 49 zoom, which is definitely on the higher side. That's not my thing. It's a little too high for my taste, but that's probably the biggest drawback to it, and you can only get one perk on it. So, and then another one that used to be incredibly popular, Alone as a God. The reason this thing is so good is because it gets snapshot. And also, it has 79 aim assist, which I'm pretty sure is the highest aim assist in the entire game. But it's a year one gun like Frigid Jackal, so you can't put mods on it. You can't put Icarus grip on it. You can't put targeting adjuster on it. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, it's a very good sniper rifle still though. And those are the snipers that almost made the list. What are the mods that I would use on a sniper? If you are not overly comfortable with sniping, I would probably use targeting adjuster, or it's personal preference, but I would use targeting adjuster probably. But if you are an aggressive sniper and you're very experienced in sniping, you really like sniping, and if you're using a 140 sniper in particular because they have so much aim assist by default, I would probably use Icarus grip, so you can really you can do some crazy things. But if you want to see more Destiny 2 console gameplay, I do gameplays all the time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm obviously going to be doing a lot of Trials of Osiris coverage. I'm going to be streaming a lot of it, and I'll be making videos on all the time on future videos, stuff like this probably. And also, if you do enjoy the video, just please leave a like. It really means a lot. The more likes I get, the more YouTube puts my video out there, and I would love to help out as much people as possible by seeing this video. Hopefully this isn't too long of a video, and if you watched all the way to the end of the video, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear that, because it's probably going to be a relatively long video of mostly just me talking and showing highlights. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.